Orson Welles' Citizen Kane is frequently cited as the single greatest film ever made, usually ranked even higher than The Godfather and Vertigo and Casablanca. It topped both versions of the American Film Institute's 100 Years, 100 Movies list, and it spent 40 years at the top of the Sight and Sound poll. If someone wants to deride a not-so-great film like Cocktail, they'll say it's no Citizen Kane. If they want to praise a great film like Die Hard, they'll call it the Citizen Kane of action movies. But what's all the fuss about? Is Citizen Kane really that great? Gather round, dummies, and I'll make the case for this movie's superlative eminence.
There's the Kane from Citizen Kane! Wait a minute, there was no Kane in Citizen Kane.
Every component of this movie is executed at the highest possible level. Greg Toland's striking cinematography, Bernard Herrmann's classy score, Robert Wise's fluid, non-linear editing. But plenty of movies are executed at the highest possible level and don't have the reputation of Citizen Kane. What makes Kane so special? The main reason why Citizen Kane is so highly regarded is that it changed the face of cinema. It's not that the life of a media magnate is necessarily the greatest story ever told, it's that, on a technical level, Citizen Kane is one of the most innovative and groundbreaking films ever produced. It opened up the possibilities of what could be done with film language, and it's all thanks to Welles' ignorance of the limits of filmmaking technology. The first-time director had no idea how a movie got made, but he had a very clear vision of how he wanted his movie to look. He described that vision to his immensely talented crew and left it up to them to break the mold and innovate brand new techniques to make it happen. They pioneered the use of low angles to make a character appear more powerful and intimidating. They pioneered the use of creative scene transitions like dissolves and wipes to make the non-linear storytelling go down easier. Gone were the days of standard cuts from scene to scene. They pioneered deep focus to keep everything in the frame, foreground and background alike, in focus, to give the audience a ton of information within a single image. It's what allows us to see young Charles playing in the snow out the window while his parents sign him over to the guardianship of a banker and doom him to grow up without scruples.
Would you like to continue living with us, your loving natural parents? Or would you rather live with this twisted, loveless billionaire? Let's roll!
Citizen Kane is a roman à clef, a work of fiction based on real-life people and events with all the names changed. Charles Foster Kane is a composite character. He has elements of media baron Joseph Pulitzer and moguls Samuel Insull and Harold McCormick, but he was primarily based on newspaper tycoon William Randolph Hearst, and Hearst wasn't happy about it. Hearst, one of the most powerful men in America at the time, used his influence to bury the film. He prohibited any publicity or even mention of Citizen Kane in his newspapers. A cinema chain with more than 500 locations refused to show Citizen Kane out of fear of Hearst's retaliation. As a result of Hearst's petty disruptions, Citizen Kane lost $160,000 during its initial theatrical run, and was technically a box office bomb. It would ultimately turn a profit in re-releases, but it took a while for it to be recognized as a classic.
The odd thing about the picture, and I've seen it countless times, the enigma of it is Kane itself, Kane himself. You don't know him. You can't get to know him. He's afraid of knowing himself. And he's not passive, though. He's not passive, but he's got this wall up.
Part of why Citizen Kane endures after all these years is that its story is timeless. Citizen Kane is over 80 years old, but its tale of the rich and powerful using their control of the media to twist the narrative, obscure the truth, and bastardize the democratic process is sadly still just as relevant today. Jeff Bezos blocked the Washington Post from endorsing Kamala Harris in the presidential election. Elon Musk keeps censoring progressive voices on Twitter. Charles Foster Kane might have died in 1941, but he never went away. Still, as timeless as Citizen Kane is, it's also very much a product of its time. Like fellow classic Casablanca, Citizen Kane reflects the contemporary political climate. Where Casablanca's plot concerns ongoing resistance against the Nazis, Citizen Kane concerns the debate of intervention versus isolationism. Before the attack on Pearl Harbor pushed them over the edge 6 months after Citizen Kane was released, there was a lot of discussion about whether the United States should enter World War II. The expository newsreel at the beginning of the movie shows Kane schmoozing with Hitler, all while using his publications to reassure the American public that there will be no war. The inevitable consequence of isolationism is shown in Kane's final moments. Dying, rich and alone, with plenty of material possessions but no real allies, surrounded by his collection of European antiquities gathering dust waiting to be tossed into a furnace.
Rosebud.
Is it sled?
It was his sled from when he was a kid. There, I just saved you 2 long, boobless hours.
The biggest question in Citizen Kane is the meaning of Rosebud. It's Kane's last word when he dies in the opening scene, and a journalist's quest to uncover its meaning forms the narrative backbone of the movie. In the most literal sense, Rosebud was the name of the sled Charles played with as a child. He uttered it on his deathbed because it was the last time he felt innocent, and the last time he had control over his life. Charles was playing with that sled when his parents handed him off to Mr. Thatcher. After that, he became an unscrupulous rich bastard and began his relentless pursuit of power and control. Since he lost control of his childhood, he wanted to seize control of the world, manipulate the press, gain political power, own all the world's animals and antiquities. He didn't want to ever be told no again. He didn't have a happy childhood, and he made it the rest of the world's problem, which is the case with a lot of dipshits in the 1%. Rosebud took Charles back to a time when the world seemed simpler, when his ambitions were much less ruthless, and above all, when he was genuinely happy.
Rosebud?
It's a reference to Citizen Kane. It's something that explains why a person became the way they are.
I know Citizen Kane. Rosebud didn't explain why he was how he was. It just represented what was important to him as a child that he missed.
Different school of thought. Let's just agree to disagree.
No, you're wrong.
Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you liked the video. Remember to like and subscribe and click on the little bell. And also seize the day and call your mom and be kind to yourself.